Okay, so Korean beef bulgogi, and you scroll down all the way. God, it's so
I'll
good.
see that. It looks delicious.
Where is it? Like near the top or like? So, oh, so I
The
didn't
comments?
eat Eoin.
Hmm?
EOIN, December 11th. So I didn't know
Oh,
what green
yeah.
onions. So I didn't know what green onions were when I first made this. So I used a small yellow onion instead. I put the onion along with the rest of the marinade ingredients into a blender and made a paste, into a gallon Ziploc bag with a pound of ground beef. 24-hour marinade. Throw it into a pan at medium heat and cook it until like all the liquid's gone. I make this a couple times a month. Wife loves it too. What?
It's not bulgogi.
What? Why do you even what?
How do you even fucking know what those ingredients are, but not? I just like, how do you know what gochujang is? How do you know what, how do you know to get sesame oil, but you don't know what green onions are?
What? The fact that they just make it.
Plus, it's supposed to be a garnish,
They
it's not part of the marinade.
they make it frequently now. This is far from the recipe for bulgogi.
Oh, far from it.
A far cry. Like what? Where's the 1.5 pounds boneless ribeye steak and green onions for garnish? Now I can see someone being confused with the recipe called for scallions, as some may not know that this is the official name for green onions. The recipe and pictures should have ended any confusion. The thought of putting all the ingredients in a blender is crazy, but I thought I'd plots when I read ground beef. So my question to you is, my
Sorry.
what? My question to you, sir, what has your review got to do with bulgogi? Why even put? Why even like leave this here? They didn't even
I
put like
think
stars. Did they put like zero
it's,
stars?
I don't know, but they say they love it. So I'm just like, huh?
What?
Just keep looking at more things. It's just funny.
How could I? Great recipe. Turned out to be more brown than black. How could I make it more black? Why would you want
Why?
anything?
I don't know.
Why would you want your meat
It's supposed to be
black?
brown.
Yeah, I feel like if you're not burning it, like that's pretty good. Like you can char it, but like why would you want to make it more black? What?
Because his name's Jonathan,
Jonathan.
Grill Master. Keeps wrong.
Some people are so funny like on these
Comments?
like yeah, like recipe websites and stuff.
Yeah. No, that's why I kept
They
looking.
so
I just I
they
think that one was like, okay.
they're so like charismatic.
I don't understand why they're calling it the sauce. I someone Joanna Denicola.
I
This
don't
was a
know how
delicious
far.
warming meal. The only substitute I used was for the
Oh,
meat. Boneless prime rib was cost prohibitive for me, so I used fajita meat and cooked it slow in a low in a cast iron skillet, one layer at a time. We also didn't have time to marinate the meat, but still used the sauce. When all of the meat was browned, I added rough cut chunks of onion in with the meat and poured the sauce on top. Again, I cooked this slow and low. We ate this with rice and it was very, very good.
wait,
That's just
what?
not bulgogi. What are you doing?
What?
I,
What? They didn't have time to marinate it, but so they just cooked the meat straight up and then they poured
and they're just
marinade on it
called. That sounds
and called it
gross.
a day. Yo,
Then
what?
the next one's bad too.
Absolutely awesome recipe and one that we'll make again. I ended up cubing a 1.5 pound flank steak and dumped the beef and marinade into the slow cooker. After 5 hours on low, the beef was nice and tender, served with kimchi.
Smiley face. Is this story
Smiley
time because they're
face.
crying?
Smiley face.
And a comment, flank steak in a slow cooker.
Why?
Why?
Just slice across the grain for delicious and tender pieces, save braising for the lesser cuts. Yeah, what? Hi, should we drain the marinade? If you want the crispy texture, I would say no. I used the marinade to saute vegetables. It was delicious.
That's understandable. I feel like I could have done that.
But I mean, do people not know how to marinate meat. You know,
I
like you usually you make the marinade, you put the meat in, you marinate it,
it absorbs it.
and then you like you take the meat and you cook it, and then you like pour whatever is left, or use it to cook
Well,
other things or
I
whatever.
was using a grill, so we didn't have to pour it over.
No, I didn't say pour it over. I meant pour it out. Like you just take
Oh,
the meat out. You don't do much with the
yeah.
marinade afterwards.
I mean, I can still understand using it for vegetables. I feel like that'd be fine.
No, I just mean like Crystal said, "Hi, should we drain the marinade?"
Oh, yeah. Like,
Like
what else will you do with it?
you just put out the fire on the grill. Otherwise, use sesame oil instead of seeds. I'm a mediocre cook, but this came out freaking awesome. Mediocre cook. Mediocre cook. I don't know how a mediocre cook got their hands on Wagyu, but okay.
Right? Maybe that's. I don't actually have no idea.
This bulgogi recipe rocks! I've tried several and they've all been way too sweet. Amazing how a simple recipe can turn out so good. The recipe didn't mention to drain marinade and discard before grilling, which I did. So oh my goodness. I feel like, do people, what?
I have no idea.
Is marinating meat like not a common thing to do?
Or maybe dude's just like flexing.
Flexing his common sense?
Yeah. Toasted the sesame seeds. Bitch, aren't they usually already?
I mean, sometimes they aren't. But I mean,
what?
I mean, like that's a bit of an extra thing if you're just
That really is.
doing like a quick
It's
meal.
just garnish, bro.
Yeah, it's not that deep. Damn, the fucking ground beef thing still gets me. That's so scary. Like that's
It's
scary.
so
I wouldn't want to
scary.
know
There was at
that
least one
family.
other person who did that.
That's so
There's
scary.
at
That
least
that strikes fear into my heart. I can't stand
fear.
reviews that are like this. Or what? I can't stand reviews that are like, this recipe's amazing, but here are all the things I changed. I don't want to be the person, but hear me out. This was beyond my control. Amazon didn't deliver the highly rated gochujang sauce I had ordered, so I had to use sriracha. And I didn't have sesame oil, so I had to use olive. I'm sorry, but let me tell you something. This recipe smelled just like every authentic bulgogi I had before. I ordered a different highly rated gochujang and even some sesame oil, and it's going down. Thank you so much for this recipe. I love it. And so did my family. It was damn delicious. See what I did there?
How do you like? I feel like you wouldn't if I didn't have the gochujang or the sesame oil. I just like would hold off because
Those
I
are
feel like
those are like
those
main
are, like,
ingredients.
the key things for its flavor.
I'm
Like,
kind
what?
of I'm kind of surprised they're saying it still tastes the same, which I don't believe it should.
I don't believe that.
Sriracha doesn't taste like anything like gochujang, but okay. Huh.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's also
Cassandra.
just like a completely different texture. Amber. I didn't have it the first few times I made this and used crushed red pepper instead. Another person didn't have gochujang, but they used sriracha.
It's like it's really not the same thing, but it's a lot better than using ground beef and
Yeah.
white onions and pulverizing it before. Oh my goodness, there's no onions in the marinade. I feel like he just like didn't read
Uh-huh.
the
Let me
recipe. Okay. Hi, I did something wrong, and I'm hoping you can help. Are you supposed to drain the marinade from the meat before cooking in the cast iron pan? I asked because although the flavor was phenomenal, there was a lot of bubbling going on from the marinade. I got caramelization. The problem was there was a grit on the meat. I double checked the ingredients, made sure the meat pieces were separated from each other, and used the cast iron. Any ideas or suggestions? No draining. The grit is from the pear, most likely. Instead of grating the pear, it should be pureed. If you can find it, use an
No.
Asian pear. Or do not use pear at all?
Who said don't use pear?
Bro, who are these
Please.
people? Debbie, Barb, and Leslie, what's happening? No draining? No draining? What? What?
Wait, where are you in?
Just right under Debbie Carney. Barb and Leslie. I would never trust a Barb or a Leslie with anything they say.
No. I
Absolutely
know.
not. No draining.
Girl, yeah, no, look at mean. Get to mean.
Can I use ground beef instead of ribeye steak? Gochujang and bulgogi? Very interesting. Not opposed, but not your classic recipe.
I think she was like not even replying to the right person first off.
Gochujang and bulgogi. Very interesting. It just seems kind of weird. We omitted the Korean hot sauce. How can I tweak this to make it with chicken? Where you see the word beef in the recipe, substitute with chicken. I lost my favorite bulgogi some years ago. That's tragic.
Oh,
I made
Breland Smith said delicious. I cubed the brown sugar in half and added sauteed bell pepper, jalapeno, and onion.
huh.
Boy's making like Tex-Mex Korean.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a fajita
You
skillet
need a
looking thing.
fajita.
Put the
I
bulgogi
mean,
on Cinco de Mayo tortillas, topped with some raw chopped carrot and cabbage, a sprinkle of green onions, and a piece of kimchi. Mmm, that sounds good. I wish you could look through and like go from like least rated or whatever. That'd be funny.